move their car in several days, park the wrong way, whatever you feel is a parking issue, you simply contact our sheriff's office, you contact our dispatch center. We will promptly send a deputy out and we will address it. We have ways of doing that. We can remedy then and there if it's the violations egregious enough, or we can actually issue county citations for parking violations. And there's a whole process where the driver can appeal within a 14-day process. So we will take the enforcement action, but again, we rely on the citizens to call it in because we don't want to be going down and kind of sniping violation after violation and going down your street. Unfortunately, we have other higher priority stuff we sort of need to get to. So again, if you feel it's the case, just call dispatch, call our sheriff's office. We will respond appropriately. Any questions on that one? The new development phrase I've been taught my whole life is we adapt and overcome. I wasn't in the military, but that is what we do in real life. When we have traffic issues, we find a way to get it done. Sheriff Helmick and the leadership, that's the motto. We find a way to get it done. I don't know how else to get specific about that, whether it's time of day. We will address the needs that we need to have, whether it's staffing, or traffic unit enforcement, setting up intersections so we can get fire departments and ambulances to the scene. I can assure you that our highest priority is your safety and facilitating whatever our mission is. We will get it done. So, any specific questions? Yes, sir.
Kind of similar to, kind of related to this, recruitment. How is recruitment for the sheriff's department?
Believe it or not, we're full. Our fiscal court gave us the ability to give our deputies raises to make us competitive. At this point, if you work in the city of Florence or you work in the sheriff's department, you're going to make the same thing. So since that happened, the bleeding has stopped. We have we may have lost a couple of officers, but at this point we are fully staffed. And I even have a stack of applications. So I'd like to think that that's just as much the money, as much as our nation is turning around. I'd like to think so anyway. So that's a good question, thank you. We are doing much better.
I'm not exactly sure how it is with the sheriff's office, but back when I used to work with the fire department, our staffing levels were partially driven by run volume. So I think if you saw a lot of development going on in the county, and the sheriff's office is starting to see, we got to call in more overtime, we can compensate for runs or whatever it is, those types of things would be part of their annual budget request saying we need to bring on more officers, and this is the data that's required. I'm assuming that's probably pretty close. Let's see. Public school one, I have no idea on this answer to this. We're not public schools. What's being done to require proof of citizenship? I'm going to assume probably that we don't know. Require proof of
There's
citizenship.
child left behind, so they do have to.
I heard a number the other day, there was something like 10 to 20,000 illegal aliens in Boone County right now. Can't remember, can't remember Boone County, but it was Boone County. So, I'm assuming they're all kids are going to school. Is Heber going to become a smart city? I will tell you, the only thing I'll say on that is that the National League of Cities, National Association of Counties, and other big organizations like that are heavily pushing this concept of the 15-minute city where everything that you need is within a 15-minute walk of where you live. They're doing it for a lot of reasons. It's a nationwide push, and it's materializing as in local communities. That's where it's tactically occurring. That's why you see all the multi-use paths as part of our road standards now, and why you won't see developments go in without them. That's why you see requirements for mixed use and mixed development communities. Any other questions?
Something about Amazon, I put that Amazon question earlier. So I talked to people that, voice concerns, they've been here for a long time, and they voice concerns about Amazon having impacted, Boone County in ways that they don't find favorable. Let's put it that way in terms of how it's kind of, impacted changing the culture somewhat, or however you want to say it. So earlier, Les was saying something about the positive contribution in terms of tax revenues coming in. What about the additional taxing on services, or however you properly phrase that? The increased demand for services, first responders, you name it, whatever, because of this larger population that's come in to work at this facility in Chenways. Where do we find this, at least if I was gonna talk to somebody, how do I explain to them where it comes down net economically? Is it a good thing overall economically? Is Boone County healthier and wealthier, so to speak, economically, as a result of Amazon? We at least solidly say, hey, at least there's that. We'll have more resources coming in to the schools, or for the first responders, et cetera, et cetera. How do we answer that?
I think that you're gonna see that when you evaluate holistically fiscal health of the county. So I don't know that you're gonna have any specific individual metric like traffic or fire or police or anything like that, but the services that are funded by the county budget, if the county is in good fiscal health, despite all these things coming in, and we're still providing the same level of service, then we're probably doing okay, and we haven't gone over that threshold. But if we start to see a degrading of our overall fiscal health while trying to maintain services, that would probably be the time when we need to look at, is there something out of whack here? In terms of what we're providing and why we're providing it versus the revenue coming in. I don't have a better answer than that right now. Any other questions?
I just want to say thank you for continuing to push the planning commission for better communication. I think that's really important for us here at Hebron. We've gone through some of that. I think one of the issues that I think would be good, that was touched on by someone else, I believe, is getting the information before these meetings, because you get to the meeting to get the information, and then by that time it's too late. And I think some sort of requirement, there's a requirement for neighbors to get information, like a letter that, hey, this is going to happen, but there's no information provided with that. And so I think that's one of the things that I hear a lot from my neighbors here in Hebron. So I just would encourage you to keep pushing that and to help us out in that regard, getting the information. Also, just a question, how does planning and then fiscal court consider the approval of projects and the impact on the schools? I serve as one of the community members on the family resource up at North Point Elementary, and my daughter goes to Thornwell. So I kind of get an understanding of some of these projects and apartments. Some of them are going to go, and Thornwell is already almost at the seams. North Point is not. Some of these other ones are going to be added here, just right here across the road. There's the apartments, the Wawa, everything, and even the principals and all of us that see this. There's a major traffic problem for pickup and drop off. And I will say that it was at the it was at the fiscal court that the judge executive said, well, we'll take care of that. We've put in sidewalks. Well, sidewalks is not fixing the lineup problems and the car problems and the issues that are happening. So how does the planning and the fiscal court start thinking about if we approve these things, if 51, I can't remember what was said, how much percentage of the taxes go to the schools? Well, we're creating new issues and problems down the road that we're going to have to pay for. And So how does that?
Yes,
how does that
there's
figure
a
in?
few different things there, so a couple things. The 51% of tax dollars that go to the schools, not based on, it doesn't go with the student, it goes to the school and the school district. So keep that in mind when we get back to the discussion about the constitutional amendment. The planning commission, when they evaluate a particular project, if it is relevant to the school district, like apartments or housing, they will send an email to the school superintendent and ask if they have any concerns about this. The assumption there is that the school district does some level of evaluation on whether or not they can sustain that. Again, they use industry standard figures based on 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom. They assume that the majority of single bedrooms are not gonna have a lot of kids, but 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom do. Again, industry standard numbers, they project X number of new students. That email response from the superintendent goes as part of the record, saying we have a concern or we don't. Same with, they send it to KYTC about traffic issues or curb cuts, they send it to the fire district, or what are your concerns? So all those entities that are involved respond back. There is an assumption that they're doing their job correctly and actually evaluating it. And not just hit no problem from an email, in the airport. Regarding the overpopulation of students within the school system though, what a great reason to have school choice in Kentucky. So the nice thing about the school choice concept, you have to look at the language, and the legislature still has to write the law. But I come from a school choice state. I moved down here from Alaska in 2016. Alaska is a school choice state. They have a voucher program there administered through the local school district, public school district. So there, the money follows the student. It doesn't go to the district unless the student's enrolled there. So in this case, we have that and a lot of people put their kids in public school because they can afford to send them somewhere else. But even though they might live right next to public school. But theoretically, if we were to get the right legislation passed after this constitutional amendment is passed, your tax dollars could then go to wherever your child goes, which actually would relieve some of the pressure on the public school system. Any other questions before we wrap up? Yes, sir.
So for the little white signs on the side of the road,
For the little white signs that you can't read while you're driving by, why don't they just put a QR code so you can pull off, scan it, and go right to the website with all the maps and all the details?
I think that sounds like a good idea in theory, but the only thing worse than trying to read the sign is trying to scan it while driving. So the only other thing then that I'll leave you with is I do highly recommend that you connect with either me or Representative Rawlings or any of your folks that represent you on social media and by my email newsletter, because I do try to push this stuff out. So anytime there's something out there that I feel like everybody should know, like dates to be involved and stuff like that, I do try to send that out. And my intention is always to send it out once or twice a week, but that never happens. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Not a question, but I'd like to make a little statement that I really appreciate very much, Chet, your doing this, and with Steve and the Sheriff's Department. As a former government teacher, I happened to run into one of my former students out here a few minutes ago, and it sort of shocks you a little bit when you're 80. But I really appreciate, and as a government teacher, which I was, advanced government, this is the kind of thing that makes the Democratic Republic a republic and makes us a free nation. And I thank you all very much. And you can see this all. I've tried to get most of it down. My wife was even calling me though and telling me, John, you just got out of the hospital. You need to be home. But I wanted to film this so I could put it all on my YouTube channel. So if you'd like to see it again or know somebody else that needs to see it, tell them they can see it. It travels with Dr. John Stephenson, former superintendent of education for the state of Kentucky, the last elected one. God bless you all.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, Colonel Hill, and all for coming out. Appreciate your time tonight. And I'll stick around until the last person leaves if anyone has specific questions. And if you, I know you guys are all from Hebron, but if you've got an idea for another place that you feel would like this, like a town hall like this, feel free to let me know. Because I will do it.
Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition to godly principles. Listen to WIOK 107.5 FM on the FM dial, Tri-State Gospel, Falmouth, Kentucky. You can reach me at 859-750-0000. Join us on YouTube or Facebook. God bless you. Nice to see you.
Those guys, yes, they were very, very generous. Very much appreciated. Thanks, Chet. Thank you.
God bless you. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Nice to see you all.
Thank you, sir. Much
God
appreciated.
bless you.
Appreciate it.
But that's because he was meant to be. But maybe at the breeder. Hi, honey.
Hi there, how you all doing? Nice to see you all. God bless you. Turn around, give me a little smile now. 1, 2, and 3.
Vote for Steve.
Take care. And if you live over in Kenton County or nobody over there, my niece, Julia Jaddock, she's running for state senator. The gentleman retired that holds a seat, and her name's Julia Jaddock, Jaddock. Mother of 4 children, all on scholarships in college. And she's a school teacher and a Sunday school teacher in a Christian church down in Scott County. Now there's one of the greatest new legislators to come down the pipe.
Well, I'm not a new legislator yet.
Well, I'm working on it.
We're going to get him.
Now you're going to be right on the show there, so
Appreciate
say
it.
hello to the folks in
Hello,
Boone County
everyone.
and your
TJ
district.
Roberts, running for House District 66, running on the platform Fighting for Faith, Family, and Freedom. So if you guys are able to vote in District 66 on May 21st, it would be an honor to have your vote. Thank you all so much.
And I can vouch for him. He's a mighty good man.
Oh, good constitutionalist, smart guy.
And I'm pushing
Smart
my
guy.
niece over in Kenton County, Julia Jaddock.
Yep.
She's a wonderful young lady for state senator. God bless you all. Take care now.
Pictures.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And who do we appreciate?
Steve Rawlings.
That's right. We got the right name. Fantastic. And Chet
Judge
Hand
McCardle.
and all the other folks. Take care now.
Thank you.
Talk about getting the car cleaned good. Dry Ridge Toyota, under this service contract that I've got to clean my car, they do a beautiful job. 2018 Sienna. My wife will be proud of me. Out here at the Hebron Baptist Church. Wonderful place and a wonderful meeting. God bless everybody. Travels with Dr. John Stephenson. 859-750-0000.
From the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God. And then go over, if you will, to verse 24 and circle the word hope. For we are saved by hope. But hope that is seen is not hope. For what a man seeth, why doth he yet hope for? But if we hope for that which we see not, then do we with patience wait for it. Do you see the word hope? All right, now take these 3 words. Get them in your heart. Bondage, liberty, and hope. And then you're going to understand about suffering. And you're going to learn to make sense out of suffering. And you're going to find out that there is a God. And that this God is a good God. Now let's think first of all about the word bondage. And bondage deals
Listening
with
to Adrian
yesterday's
Rogers on
curse.
WIOK
What causes all of this
107.5
confusion, this
FM on the radio
disease,
dial.
This war, this strife, this suffering. Why is
Post
it
Office
here?
Box 50, Falmouth, Kentucky.
Well, because of a curse that's
41040
on
zip code.
mankind. It's here because of sin.
Thanks to Gil and Jan
Because of
Hammond
sin.
for 32
We
years
can't
of
give
Christian
any other
music
word
and
than that
great
one
ministers like
short,
Adrian
little,
Rogers,
three-letter
Michael
word.
Youssef, David
Sin.
Jeremiah,
God made a perfect world.
Ann Graham
But
Lott,
sin entered into that
Carl
world.
Martin,
Adam sinned,
and Gil
when he
Hammond.
did,
Wonderful
he dragged
folks.
all of creation down with him. Now that brings us a real question.
What a meeting.
Why did God allow that?
An educational meeting.
I mean, if God is a good God, why did God even allow Adam to sin? Why did God even create the potentiality, the possibility of sin? How could a good God allow such things? That is what the Apostle Paul is dealing with here, so that we can make sense out of our suffering. Now let me back up and tell you that God is the author of everything. That God did make everything. And when God made everything, God made it absolutely perfect. And he made a man and a woman, put that man and woman in a perfect environment. Now listen carefully. Listen. And the perfect God gave to man and woman perfect freedom. That's what God made. God made everything perfect. He made a perfect man, he made a perfect woman, put them in a perfect place, and gave them perfect freedom. Now, why did he make man perfectly free? Because what is the highest good? Love. God is a God of love. Now, what good is love if there's nobody to love, no love to give, and no love to receive? A song is not a song until you sing it. A bell is not a bell until you ring it. Love is not love until you give it and receive it. So God wants love. So God created two creatures, Adam and Eve, that he could love and so they could love him. Now, why did God make them free? Because forced love is not love.
Right.
Forced love is a contradiction in terms.
Absolutely.
God has to give us freedom so that we can love. In order to choose good, we have to have the freedom to choose evil. Or else the choice to choose good is not a choice at all. He gave them the ability to choose, but they chose sin, they chose evil. And when they did, all of creation fell into a bondage that the Bible calls the bondage of corruption. Today's curse. When Adam sinned, I said he drug all of creation down with him. What is this bondage that we talk about in verses 21 and 22? Let me tell you what happened to creation. You want to know why today's newspaper reads like it does? There's a curse. Yesterday's curse is upon everything. For example, there's a curse on the animal kingdom. When God made creation, when God put the animals in the Garden of Eden, he did not put them in there with the law of tooth and fang and claw. That's the result of the curse of sin. The animal kingdom was cursed. There's a curse on the mineral kingdom. Listen to Genesis chapter 3, verse 17. And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it, cursed is the ground for thy sake. And sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. That's the reason that we see all of this ecological problem that so many are worried about in politics. The desert, the waste places, the barren land. This world that was meant to be like the Garden of Eden has become a garden of weeds. Have you ever noticed how much easier it is to grow weeds than vegetables? Not only that, but there's a curse upon the human kingdom, mankind. Man was meant to have dominion upon this earth. But man doesn't have dominion today. Why? Because of sin. Man is morally depraved. His mind, like the earth, has become a garden of weeds. His imagination is evil. Man is emotionally disturbed, physically diseased. Why do our bodies wear out? Romans 5 verse 12, wherefore by one man sin entered into the world, and death by sin. You have a polluted gene pool. You have the seeds of death in you. It's caused by sin. And none of us is immune. Now, do you have that? That is yesterday's curse. It happened in the Garden of Eden, and what we're doing is just reaping the bitter fruit of it today. Yesterday's curse. Bondage. Now, here's the second thing I want you to see. First of all, the first word was bondage. What's the next word? Liberty. All right? That, my friend, is tomorrow's conquest. Yesterday's curse, tomorrow's conquest. Now remember, God does not destroy evil. What God does is God defeats evil. Now look, if you will, in verses 21 through 23 again. Look at it. For the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God. For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now. And not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves groan within ourselves. Watch it now. Waiting for the adoption, to wit, that is the redemption of our body. There is a better day coming. The whole creation is moaning and groaning and sighing, pressed down with grief and distress. And to try to save this old world with ecology and politics would be like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. But when Jesus comes, he's going to change it. When Jesus comes, he is going to change it. And this creation is waiting with outstretched arms. It is called the earnest expectation of the creation. When Jesus comes, the trees of the field will clap their hands, the hills will skip like little lambs, and the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord as waters that cover the sea. When Jesus comes, the animal kingdom will be changed. Listen to the prophet Isaiah, Isaiah chapter 11, verses 6 and following. The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, the calf and the young lion and the fatling together, and a little child shall lead them. And the cow and the bear shall feed, and their young ones shall lie down together. And the lion shall eat straw like an ox, and the suckling child shall play on the hole of the ass. And the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice den. And they shall not hurt or destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord, as waters that cover the sea. The animal kingdom is going to be changed. The mineral kingdom will be changed. Isaiah 35 verse 1, the wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as a rose. The vegetable kingdom will be changed. Isaiah 55 verses 12 through 13, for ye shall go out with joy and be led forth with peace. The mountains and the hills shall break forth before you into singing, and all the trees of the field shall clap their hands. Instead of the thorn shall come up the fir tree, and instead of the briar shall come up the myrtle tree. And it shall be to the Lord for a name and for an everlasting sign that shall not be cut off. And the human kingdom is going to be changed. Our bodies are going to be redeemed. Look in verse 23. We're waiting for the redemption of the body. Old Dr. Vance Havner used to say, you're not going to be towed into heaven by a wrecking crew. You are going to have a body like unto his glorious body, and that's why Romans chapter 8, verse 18 says, for I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. Because we're going to be like Jesus. That's the reason the psalmist said, I shall be satisfied when I awaken in thy likeness. And this dear great God who has redeemed us is going to turn every hurt to a hallelujah, and every tear to a pearl, and every Calvary to an Easter, and every sunset to a sunrise when Jesus comes. manifestation of the sons of God. Okay, now watch it. Yesterday's curse. Tomorrow's conquest. Today's comfort.
Praise the Lord.
Today's comfort. You see, remember this, that the grown